In these perilous times, see from current events how biblical prophecy is coming to pass in front of our eyes. You're watching In the Last Days, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. With Martin and Nathalie Blackham, thank you to our friends and partners who make this program possible. Now, here's Martin and Nathalie.
Hi, welcome to the In the Last Days television program with myself, Martin Blackham, and with my wife, Nathalie Blackham, from our studios here in Jerusalem, Israel. Great to be with you, and we say a special hello to all our friends across the UK and to Europe, and those who are watching by way of internet, and great to be with you, and a part of your home as we come today from Jerusalem. Now, we've got a special ITLD update. We'll be talking hopefully about the news, depending on time constraints. We've got some letters, we've got emails. We're talking a little bit about support, a little bit about the expansion of Islam. So let me start off with a letter. Now this is very interesting. This is from Scotland. And we say hello to all our friends in Scotland. We have our special friends Terry and Nancy over in Dundee, and we say hello to everybody who's watching in Scotland, and we hope that the In the Last Days television program is being informative for you. Now this is from Alf and Libby, and Alf and Libby say, we watched your program on Sunday when you talked about a book called The Islamic Tsunami, and they say, we are a small group of believers who meet up each week, and we all share what we've heard or read, and they were speaking about, you know, the program and how the book would be interesting. Now, obviously, I've said this before, we don't stock the books of guests, and but you can, if you're interested, we can point you in the right direction how you can get a copy of different books from different guests. The Islamic Tsunami is from a guest called David Rubin, and you can go on the internet, and David Rubin, I think it's Shiloh Israel Children's Fund, is your best port of call, and you can order it. I think you can even order it on Amazon. And so thank you so much for your letter, Alf and Libby. They also, by the way, they wrote to us about been watching your television program, and I think you've answered this one, Nathalie, where they were interested in the word kese or kissi in Hebrew. Because we like to bring you programs where we do the Hebrew language, we study the Hebrew language, and we look at different Hebrew words. And this was one of their.
You don't want to start me on this this word. This is a very, very important word, and it's kisse means a chair, but also throne, and we can speak a lot about it. I spoke already about it on one program.
Maybe.
When we speak about the spirit of Amalek, we will speak again about it.
Maybe
I promise you.
Maybe our friends at home would like to hear that, but because of time, Alf and Libby, by the way, sent us some very interesting information. Excuse me, on the for the coming 4 blood moons, and it's very interesting because, you know, that one of the things in the Bible talks about the signs in the sky, and I've noticed in Jerusalem something which we didn't see in England was the red colour on the moon. This is something I've really noticed since living in the land.
And it's big. Do you remember sometime
and
we
the moon
saw this
seems to
moon,
be big
and
here.
it's huge. And sometime, you know, when there is a new moon, which is something that's very interesting, it can be just for a tiny time, and after you don't see it anymore. And for me, I don't know, when I was living in France, it's like I can see the moon going like that, and I never realized that the moon disappeared, and I don't know how it works from here, but it's very interesting. We live in different sky. The sky is different here.
I think any where you live in the world, it's interesting to see sunsets and the sunrise, but in Israel it is, you know, there is something very special about signs in the sky, and this is so thank you, Alf and Libby. That was very interesting, and I know that a lot of people who watch the program are very interested in end times and the signs. And if you'd like to do some study into that, the best place to start is in Matthew chapter 24. Now this is from a friend in Ireland, and we say hello to all those. I know there are people watching in Ireland This is from Dee, and she's in Donegal, and she says she'd like to make a small donation, and thank you, Dee. And she says that through a debit card, and we've mentioned this before, but we can do PayPal. That is one possibility. We can send you a PayPal money request from us, and that's one way you can donate by debit card. But you know, we have a few people who are watching Ireland, both in the north of Ireland and also in the south. We've had people writing to us, so it's great to be part of their homes as we come with the program.
But this is interesting when you are speaking about this little group, and we hear many of people who are like, they are meeting little groups and they are digging in the Bible, and they have the Jewish roots. We were speaking about that in another previous program, and that they don't want the replacement theology, which is really funny enough. Speaking about that, this is the second edition of my book, so I've just added few things in it, and I'm speaking just right at the beginning.
You have to say what that is. You just pointed to
right
that
at the beginning. Oh, I see something.
You have to say what that is, because Nathalie just showed. Let me show. There's a little. We've now got this now a little barcode, so people can put it through their machine and find us. And
but I was being fed on replacement theology in different congregations. Sadly, the church has been separated from its Jewish roots for nearly 2,000 years through the church fathers, who were embracing Greek philosophy, Romans ways, and Gregorian calendar, speaking about the moon, and loss of the Hebrew language. All of them have twisted our thinking. Now, my special Jewish glasses, I was speaking how God has changed my way of looking at things, destroyed this theology of demons in one day, which is, kind of say jokingly, but it's not a joke. Is replacement theology is full of demons, I would say, because it's like against Israel. Israel doesn't have the right place, and is really like Hitler will have used it too, like Martin Luther, which is very interesting. Martin Luther, like the Jewish people at the beginning, seeing that they will see that Yeshua was the Messiah, he spoke to many of them, and they didn't, and suddenly he just reversed and was really anti-Jewish. And Hitler used a lot of what Martin Luther said, again, because the church was having this replacement theology. And it's really something which is terrible, and a lot of young little groups now do not want that, and so they are like on their new adventure. And well done for what you've done, because we've done the same many years ago, and looking here and looking there, and so we are here to support you. We are here from Israel, wanted to give you, new news, what's happening here, and again discovering, the beauty of the Hebrew language and all these kind of things.
And if you're meeting today in a small group, or you're part of a small group which this program helps, then please do contact us, because that would be very interesting. I have a feeling that there are a lot of small groups, Nathalie, meeting all over the UK who are. I know there are, because we have had. This was a group in Scotland, but we have had a group in Wales also contacting us, and there's I'm sure there are groups all over the land meeting together.
Yeah, and please, let us dare to say, if you love our program, please support it. We don't have
That's what I was going to talk about next.
Good, yeah, because maybe many people think that we have a lot of donors and a lot of people who are giving regularly, but we don't. We have, Martin was doing some counting, and it's like 26. It's not very many.
Monthly partners.
Yeah, monthly partners. So we have some other people who give like one-time gift. But if you are a little group and you want, to support Israel, you are supporting Israel by supporting us to be here too.
And maybe as a small group you can pull together, because sometimes, as an individual it might not be possible to do a donation. But if you're a small group, you could take up an offering or pull together. And we have had, actually, we've even had a group in France, small group that are meeting together, who've supported us on a one-off basis. But we need more monthly partners, and I'm not sure whether I'll... Let me just read this email, and then I might just talk about that for 1 minute. This is from Marlene, and she says, "Hi Natalie," and she's replying to an email you've done. She says, yes, she's saying about a book, that's Natalie's book, which you can get, The Beauty of the Hebrew Language, and get that on the camera. And she says, "It's been really an encouragement to me. God put me this love for the Hebrew language." I know that a lot of people watching, Natalie, I know a lot of our friends at home, the programs we do on Hebrew are really an encouragement. You really enjoy them. And she says, "I've even got a free first basic lesson and plan to continue on my own. I love your program and would like to contribute monthly towards the work." And that's important because our monthly partners, as Nathalie was saying, we have 26. We need at least 100 for the running costs of the studio, for the office, and for accommodation. We need to cover all these costs, and we need at least 100, and we have about 26 at the moment. So, and the thing is, Natalie's right. You know, one of the things is, Nathalie, is that you think, oh, that's somebody else who can help, or that's somebody else's job to do that. But maybe it's you today that, as we're bringing this program, that you know that it's you that should be helping us. Then, as I say, it's very easy, and also we can send you a, and I think I've put it away, but we. Yes, I know where it is now. In this pile of paper, we have a direct debit form. We can send that to you. You just fill it in, and you can get that off to your bank. And it's very easy. And once you've done that, then you can support us on a monthly basis. It goes out automatically out of the bank account, and it's very, very important for us. And when you support us, you're not just helping us, but you are helping everybody else. All the people who are watching the program, you are having an impact into their lives. And not just that, because we're in Israel, you're also standing with Israel. You're supporting Israel as a nation.
And supporting, like now, you know, is quite amazing because of the work, the pioneer work, we say, that we've done here. Revelation TV is also recognized now in Israel as a Christian television, and doing some work here in Israel. So you see, it's like step by step, and there is really some relationship who are really getting stronger and more and deeper between Jewish people and Christian people here in the land, and also in America and in England. We can see things, you know, changing, and this takes time, takes efforts, and it takes also finances to be able to do all these things.
And you're impacting people's lives, and the thing is with media is that we're able to go. I remember Howard once put it like this: it's like the airways are higher. And, you know, we're able to go into people's homes, and you never know, because of your gift, because of your supporting this program, how you're impacting somebody's life who's tuning in. Now, this is an email from Kevin. Now, this is the reason I said all of that, is because of this email. This is a very powerful email. Listen to this. This is Kevin, and the subject Kevin's put on the email is shofar, which is the ram's horn, which is blown in Israel. And then Kevin says, "Hi, may both of you be blessed as your hearts are so full of for truth. I'm just a guy who did not know anything in my life apart from drink and drugs." And that's why I'm saying that you never know when you support us the effect, because we go to everywhere with television. And thanks to Howard and Leslie. One day 12 years ago, I was going to die by my own hands. In my mind, I was lost. In my last breath, I thought I would ask God. I never knew if He would take away the drink and drugs that I could not stop taking. I would do whatever He wanted. The moment my life changed, I never craved those drugs again. As I started my new life, I was woken up from sleep by a shofar, the sound of a shofar going off. God has put on my heart a love for the Jewish people, and a love for them to go home to the land of Israel. Now, this is very, very interesting, because this is a work that is going on in many people's hearts, that they are something is happening about Israel, about the Jewish people, It's a special relationship between Christians and the Jewish people, and an understanding of Israel in the end times. And the sound of the shofar, we know that this is one of the signs of the end. And he says that God has put love for the Jews to go home, and we know that's also very important, the Jewish people returning to the land of Israel. And this is what he says: when I see Jews, I cry tears, and my heart is one of love. All this from a man from England, Nathalie, that never ever knew anything about any of the Lord's work. And he says, love your program, God bless you. And thank you, Kevin, for that email. We really appreciate if you're watching
Was
today.
it the one where we blew the shofar?
I don't know.
Okay, this would be interesting.
Maybe.
I will write to you, Kevin, and I will ask. But I wonder, because of that he was triggered.
One of the recent programs, one of the recent programs we showed you, Nathalie, at the beginning of the program, you may remember it, was blowing the shofar, and said that it was one of the things we used to do.
I was inspired by friends who like suddenly, I don't know, I was feeling that I wanted to blow the shofar. This is interesting. But you see, this is so amazing. This is like a God's movement. It's God who is doing that, who is opening our eyes to see that Israel is so important. And it's just beautiful to see that. And you know, like even, like sometimes I was reading this book, you know, The Cross in the Shadow of the Crescent.
You have to show them the cover.
Like I was speaking about it in the previous program, but it's still really like
and you met the author.
On my heart. I met the author, and we spoke a bit with him, and I was with Anna Yalon at the time. But the thing was really touching me is like, you know, there is so many Muslims who are, it's very touching. Like in this book, he put a story about a Muslim who become Christian at the end of every chapter, and you see the fear that they were through, and like many of them want love. I don't mean that all of them are not love, but there is something that they were missing, and they dare to read the Bible, and they dare to cry to God, and they dare to ask, I want to know the truth. And many, you know, are discovering Yeshua as the Savior. And like they are changed. I know that because I've been totally changed, and I won't be here, I tell you, in front of you if I wasn't born again. I don't know where I will be, and I don't want to know. But God has rescued my life too, and He has a purpose for all of us. So, you know, Christian, Jews, Muslim, first of all, who are made in the image of God. And so there is this image who've been like damaged, but is still there in us, and we want to connect with Him, and He wants to connect with us. This is the thing. Sometimes we think that we're pursuing Him, but I think sometimes it's Him who is pursuing us. And so carry on, read the Bible, speak to some Christian who love God, and seek Him, you know, call to Him, and He has always a way for all of us to discover Him. And it takes time sometimes, and sometimes it's sudden, like this man. He wake up and he was different. I had a friend, he was a gangster, Philip. And he's been a robber, he's been a gangster, he's been like terrible. And one day, God just touched him, and he was crying and gave his heart to the Lord, and never been the same. So it happens to many people. It's beautiful.
Are you going to talk a bit about the book, or I've got another email.
Oh, speak about your email here.
This is an email from Michael. And Michael says, Shalom, God bless. I'm contacting you to ask about information for work in Jerusalem. Now, we'll try. We don't get so many emails, but you know, we appreciate every email. We'll try and get in touch with you, Michael, about this. We do appreciate, you know, people do send us emails which aren't really so connected with the program, but about what's happening in Israel. And we will try and reply. He says, seeing you, thank you for the excellent show tonight on Sunday. Don't forget it's on Sundays at 10 o'clock and Mondays at 10 o'clock in the morning. So 10 o'clock in the evening on Revelation TV. He says, well done, God bless. And he had a wonderful experience, he says, in Israel. Now, I've just got one piece of news, and then maybe we can come back onto that book you're reading. This was the big news in Israel in the last since coming into the studio. So we think this would be very important for you. And even if it's a little bit dated because sometimes the programs go out a little bit later. This is very important for you to know, and this is the visit of President Obama. And by the way, it's very interesting. We were given this. This is the press kit. It's the press kit for all the journalists for the visit of President Obama to Israel. And it's got Unbreakable Alliance, President Obama in Israel in 2013. And I did mention on one of the programs I did say, well, this could be not so good for Israel. And I know that, you know, there's a kind of a mixed bag feeling about Obama. Some people are very in favour of him, and some people are very against him. And I'm not mentioning him personally, but the fact is of what he stands for. Now, this is very interesting, because part of his tour he visited Ramallah. There has never been an American president who's ever gone to Ramallah. Why does President Obama have to go there?
By the way, do you know that there was a statue, I don't know if you know about that, where they put something, a cloth over it, because it wasn't a statue, like a monument showing Palestine, who were like all Israel. So obviously they didn't want to see him to see that, and I will find the picture, and we will.
If we can find that, we'll put that on the we'll put that on for you to look around, to look at. And this was from Ramallah. He made a speech there. He went to visit there. The first American president to go to Ramallah. And he said, this is what he said: the core issue right now is how do we get sovereignty for the Palestinian people? That's the essence of this negotiation, Mr. Obama said in response to questions about Israeli settlements from CBS News chief, White House correspondent Major Garrett. My argument is that there may be strong areas of disagreement. That's between the Israelis and the Palestinians, but we have to push through these things. This is what Obama went on to say: we require the Israeli government to stop settlements in order to discuss all the issues of concern. Now, the thing is that when he says settlements, they're Jewish communities in Israel. And we have to remember that there's no such place as the West Bank. This is just political nonsense. It's actually Judea and Samaria. What's in Judea and Samaria? Hebron is Jerusalem, part of Jerusalem, allegedly. I mean, they call it the West Bank, but it's this part of Israel. Who on earth would say Jerusalem is not part of Israel? And yet, because of politics, they say that it's part of the West Bank. Hebron, Bethel, Shiloh in the north. Shem, Nablus in the north.
Which is Nablus is
it's all part of Judea and Samaria, which is part of Israel. And you know, we've talked before about, there's a book called The Mountains of Israel. This is the mountains of Israel. They are part of Israel. They belong to the nation of Israel. End of story. But it's very dangerous, because for the first time, as I've said, President Obama has gone to, as an American president, gone to Ramallah saying these things. And the problem is, folks and friends at home, is what's said behind, because there are a lot of other meetings that the press aren't invited to, and what's he saying behind. We know that Israel, and it's interesting, we had an email from someone who's not a Christian, who was saying about that Israel is the land of refuge for the Jewish people in the world.
And is what God is saying in His Word. Because I was reading Ezekiel 36, 37, 38, and 39 are very interesting. And there, God says, I will judge Gog, funny enough, on the mountain of Israel. And the mountain of Israel is Samaria and Judea. And when they speak about settlements, it's not tents. This is beautiful communities. And some have started like about maybe 25 years. Funny enough, we live in a settlement. It's a community who started 25 years ago. It's a beautiful village and is growing. And it's part of Israel. Yeah. And if people have trouble, they will have trouble with God, because we are standing on God's word, and God's words will not go away. And it's part of how it is.
And what you need to know is that Israel was actually bigger. The land of Israel dedicated to the Jewish people under the British mandate was bigger, in fact included parts of Jordan, but because when they had the War of Independence in 1948, Jordan invaded Israel and occupied, actually the Jordanians who occupied various parts, including where we're filming today, they occupied various parts of Israel, and they didn't have any right to be here. But because of that, this area, which supposedly is called the West Bank, which doesn't exist in the Bible, doesn't exist in history, there's never been, by the way, there has never been a Palestinian state in history. There's never been a capital, there's no currency, there's never been anything. And yet we have all these false notions, all these political things said, and it is very dangerous, Nathalie.
And even, but we, like this is all political games, because if you look in 1920 at San Remo, there was something signed saying that the land of Israel was for the Jewish people. And this is something who's been
written. The United Nations,
yes,
or the forerunner.
It's been, yeah, it's San Remo, 1920, that they show, and there was a treaty, I can't remember the exact name that they were saying, but 1920 San Remo in Italy. And I remember because Eliezer Ben Yehuda, when I was reading his book, he was so afraid, and he was waiting to see what the people were what was the outcome of this treaty, and they sign and they say, yeah, this belongs to the Jewish
We're
people.
Out of time again. It's been great to be with you, and we're always like this. You know, there's so many different things, so many different interesting things that we want to tell you about, that we want to be able to bring into your homes and go to, and into small groups that are watching today or being shared by small groups. If you'd like to contact us, we'd love to hear from you by letter or email. Don't forget you can contact us at info@inthelastdays.com. And remember, we're living in the last days.
You've been watching In the Last Days, a TV program with Martin and Nathalie Blackham, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. If you would like to financially support the program or find out about conferences, meetings or ministry products, then please contact us with the details on your screen. Visit our easy-to-use website at www.inthelastdays.com and register for our free e-newsletter. Get the latest news from Israel, product information, online video teaching, or watch today's TV program at a time that's convenient to you. Thank you again, friends and partners, for making this program possible.
See you same time, same station for the next program from In the Last Days.